Breaking right now, Eamonn Holmes has lashed out at Meghan Markle after her extraordinarily appalling appearance at the Invictus Games, where she decided to turn an event about wounded soldiers performing.
Is Meghan Markle's marriage to Prince Harry nothing more than a carefully calculated PR stunt? That's the claim being made by broadcaster Eamonn Holmes, and even Donald Trump is weighing in. In today's video, we're diving into the explosive claims, the public reaction, and what this could mean for the future of the royal rebel couple. Buckle up, this one's going to be intense.
At the top of their performance levels into a performance for herself. Watch.
Trump said, I don't want to do that, he told the New York Post. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible. Oh. Now, that is misogynistic and mean, but it is
probably
also
true. Yeah.
I couldn't possibly
look, you
comment.
know, all this nonsense. He's front of the papers today. I mean, if you just see these pictures here, this is so put on. This is so acted out. All this holding his hand, hugging him, acting devoted to him. Oh, God.
You think it's fake?
And because these pictures were taken at these pictures were taken in Vancouver at the Invictus Games, and Harry and Meghan were both there. And yes, I have to agree with you, Eamonn. She was putting on a very public display of affection, like they were on some kind of first date. And you do think that maybe this was a reaction to Trump's comments and Harry's speech also to the disabled athletes, which is an amazing thing that he does.
I like the lad. I think the lad has got a lot. I think the country would recondition themselves back towards him. I think he'd be welcomed back eventually. But her, no, no, no.
I think you're right. And his speech was, he told the veterans, courage, values and humanity at a time where there is no shortage of crisis, no absence or uncertainty, no lack of weak moral character in the world. And I think that was a very, very thinly vowed dig at Trump after what he said about Meghan.
So, Nick Tanconi, leader of the UKIP party, joins me now. Lots to pick up on here, Nick, because, of course, we did have Trump over the weekend say he's not going to actively try and deport Prince Harry because he's got enough problems with his terrible wife, Meghan Markle. But what do you make of Eamonn Holmes' claim that Prince Harry would be welcomed back to the UK? Because I actually don't agree, Nick. I think after the terrible things he put his late grandmother through, Queen Elizabeth II, in her dying days, I believe that relationship between Harry and the British public has been forever, well, I'd say forever smashed, to be honest. But Eamonn is in the camp that actually if Harry were to divorce Meghan, come back cap in hand, actually the British people would accept him again.
Veteran broadcaster Eamonn Holmes didn't hold back. Following Meghan's highly publicised appearance at the Invictus Games, Holmes said the PDA between her and Harry was completely acted out and put on.
I think there's just one point first I'd like to address. The blonde lady who was sat on the left, as we saw it, what did Trump say? Because she said it was misogynistic. Do you know what Trump said? That she called it misogynistic.
I thought that all he said is that he's got enough to deal with his wife, who's a terrible person. I agree. How is that misogynistic? It's a fact.
Well, then I'll happily respond to the question. But first and foremost, we've got to end the I Hate Men campaign. How is that misogynistic? So I don't know who this lady is with the haircut and the glasses. I don't know. But how dare you call that misogynistic? Because you're undermining misogyny. Same way as if a man said something that was misandrous, which wasn't. You're undermining misandry as well, which is a scourge. Same as with misogyny. So that's the first thing. To Eamonn's point, there is no question that he's right. I think, I'm not speaking for me, but I think the British public probably could be re-engineered back towards Harry because A, they're like that, and some bizarre over sentimentality with regards to the royal family in context of Harry because of what happened to his mother. So I think I know why he said that. It's probably because it's going to happen. In terms of my 2 cents, I'm on record as saying this: both Harry and William have been gifted one of the most special, most privileged, lucky opportunities a person can have, not just in Britain, but on planet Earth. And he decided to essentially to shun all of that, and you're groomed from birth with regards to your responsibilities and the life you're choosing and everything that goes with it. He essentially said, no, I'm turning my back on this for someone who we can all agree has an agenda, who has no sense of propriety, who is just simply not fit for purpose in that context, because you know what you're getting involved in. It's a troublemaker, and I find that hugely problematic, and that's fairly unforgivable from my perspective on Harry. And you mentioned as well about his behaviour previously with regards to his grandmother, God rest her soul, passing.
Yeah, I think it's completely unforgivable. I just went back to check, by the way, Trump's exact words, because I'm with you. I can't see anything misogynistic at all. All he said was in an interview with the New York Post when he was asked if he would deport Harry, if he'd throw him out of the country. He said, I don't want to do that. I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible. And I think you're right. It's so critical that we don't get into a situation where simply stating a fact about a woman is described as misogyny. I mean, I was in the most extraordinary situation, Nick. You might remember when I was thrown under the bus by GB News and the off-communists. They claimed that I was misogynistic because I had described a woman as beautiful. So you're actually damned if you do and damned if you don't in this current climate, aren't you?
According to him, Meghan turned what was supposed to be a celebration of wounded veterans into her own stage performance. He called it a PR performance, not a real marriage. The timing, suspicious. Just days after Donald Trump made headlines for calling Meghan terrible, Meghan shows up holding Harry's hand like a lifeline.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to come back on this. Thank you so much for confirming what Trump, because I wasn't sure. So you've got whoever she is, primetime, GB News. She's probably a regular, pally, chummy with the.
She
GB
is Dawn
News.
Neeson. She hosts every weekend on GB News.
Yeah, so she's comfy. She's got it comfy, and she dares call. And it's the way she said it. So she's there to talk about the story. She's a pundit, I presume. She's there to talk about the story. And again, I don't know her age, but again, that boomer conservative, high and mighty, virtue signaling madness. You've just got to slip it in there, haven't you? Well, obviously that's misogynistic. Hang on a minute. You're in a position of prominence. You're on a chat show. You're on a news channel. You don't get to say. Imagine if I had done that. Let's just say the genders were reversed, and I slipped in saying, "Oh, that's misandrist." It's completely undermining, and people should rightly say, "No, it's not. That's just you getting in your attack, which is disingenuous, which is of itself would have been misandrist." But she gets away with it, and no one calls it out. I think I'm really glad you brought that up. That's incredibly bad form, and that needs to be called out.
I also wanted to discuss the other big royal political story of the day. And these extraordinary pictures, Nick, made it on the front page of the Times today, the Daily Telegraph, the Guardian. And there's two aspects to it, right? So the first is that, oh my goodness, and let's just be honest about it, Angela Rayner is so not fit to be Deputy Prime Minister of this country, given she shows up to a meeting with the King, dressed ludicrously, dressed in embarrassing shoes. I mean, I'm not a fashion guy. I don't get fashion. I don't even know what the shoes are called. Mike Graham, I saw he posted saying, good to see Angela Rayner wearing bother boots to see the King. And Rael Braverman of Reform UK wrote, that's our deputy PM. It's a symbol of this country's decline. So that's the first thing. You've got her appearance and her clothing, which is the first thing. But I would argue, Nick, the more concerning development with this meeting is the fact that King Charles is clearly getting political here. He is hosting a political day with both the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, who is, of course, responsible for housing. And we know that King Charles has liberal tendencies. We know that he has done everything possible to forge a really close relationship with Keir Starmer, including inviting Keir Starmer and his wife over for a sleepover at Windsor Castle before he became Prime Minister. And before I just get your response, Nick, I'll give you what sort of the political right are saying about this. Christopher Hope of GB News posted, "It is very unusual for the monarch, PM and his deputy to stage a visit together as Sir Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner did today with the King to a housing development in Cornwall. Normally political and royal matters are very separate, yet this week is housing week with government policy announcement on new homes all week, including one fronted by the PM himself. Today's visit leaves the impression that His Majesty the King endorses the government's policy on new homes and new towns, which both the Palace and Number 10 may not object to, but still presents a risk for the monarch." And then Alison Pearson posted, "Why is the King doing this? I can't remember his mother, our beloved late Queen, seeming to lend royal approval to any political party. Poor judgment." And from Rael Braverman, of course, recently defected from the Conservative Party to Reform UK, the husband of the former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, this King is making it way too hard to be a monarchist. So what is King Charles doing here, Nick? And should we be concerned? I mean, you know I'm a big royalist, a big monarchist, but this worries me.
Is it love, or is it image control? Here's the saddest part. Prince Harry used to be one of the most beloved royals, the soldier prince, the rebel with heart. But now, many believe he's lost his identity, his family, his reputation, his military roles, gone.
Well, I was a royalist and a monarchist under the late Queen Elizabeth, God rest her soul. I am not a royalist under King Charles. And I have doubts about King Charles and his motivations now in the context of affiliation and allegiance to supranational organizations, which are synonymous in my mind with supranational tyranny. I am deeply concerned about his message at Christmas, which was essentially I love all Muslims, and if you want the land, you can have it, and please don't hurt us, and we'll happily accept dhimmi status, and here's the jizya to go with it. I relinquish our green and pleasant land to the caliphate. It's basically what it was. We all saw it. So I've seen enough now from Charles to know that he's compromised. As with all the discussions about the agenda, we don't know by whom, we don't know the details, outside of just inexplicable, why would you want to burn your country to the ground style rhetoric. No one actually knows why, but we know there's an agenda at play, typically referred to it as globalism. So I find what happened with Starmer and Rayner. By the way, you mentioned a few skeletons in Rayner's closet. Her son's a drag queen. Just FYI, I'm 99% sure he's a drag queen. You might argue that that's absolutely fine and there's no problem with that. And I check out the pictures and stuff on Instagram. It's weird. But anyway, King Charles, I'm going to be very candid with you, Dan. If I was king, I'd say to Starmer, release our political prisoners, stop trying to kill our elderly, stop trying to tax us into oblivion, stop waging your war on farmers, pull your pants up, son, otherwise we're going to have problems. And instead, he's cozying up to them. I find it totally unacceptable.
Some, like Holmes, think Britain might welcome him back, but only without Meghan. And honestly, that might be the only way. Because right now, he looks more like a sidekick in Meghan's media strategy than a royal figure with his own legacy.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the Angela Rayner thing. This is my understanding of her son. He was an OnlyFans star, I think, with his wife, maybe, rather than being a drag queen himself, but still quite an extraordinary position.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I just, again, it's not necessarily her fault, but equally, you're the deputy prime minister and your son's doing that. It's just not taken seriously. Let's say that he'd been caught speeding or driving without insurance or drunk behind the wheel. Look, that's down to the courts and the police, and don't do silly things and don't put people's lives in danger, certainly. But this is when it's perverted and deviant and degenerate and OnlyFans, thus it's problematic. So, but thank you for clearing that up. Not drag queen story, but porn by the sounds of it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Hardcore pornography, which some people would argue is worse. I mean, it's an interesting one, the Angela Rayner conversation, because it was revealed in this new book over the weekend, Get In, which is all about the secrets of the Labour Party, that she had described Prince Andrew as a paedophile, effectively, and use a word beginning with N to describe him as that. And it's just, yeah, it's a very odd one, isn't it? Her relationship with the royal family, but it's very clear that King Charles obviously wants to cozy up to her.
Yeah, I think it's hugely problematic. There should be one thing. This goes back to what I said earlier on in the program. Command me, give me the order, get me into Westminster, and you'll see exactly what Trump's done over there. It's a common sense thing to do, and you're also going to sit down with the king, and you're going to say, what exactly? Where is your allegiance? Where does your allegiance lie? Because if you want the public to be to you, it needs to be, it's two-way street. And at the moment, we're not seeing that. It's the kind of iron fist and tough crackdown that's required. And it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. There's going to be changes. When we take our country back, everyone needs to put their seatbelt on, buckle up, buckle in, because there's going to be changes. We're so far fallen. It's not going to be a very nice time. No different from the fallout from Brexit. This is the price you pay for getting your country back. These tough conversations need to be had with these people. King Charles is one of them.
So, is Meghan Markle's marriage a genuine love story, or a long-running PR campaign to control the narrative, deflect criticism, and stay relevant? With people like Eamonn Holmes and Donald Trump calling it out, the tide may be turning. But what do you think? Is this marriage the real deal, or just a brand-building strategy gone too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it insightful. Until next time. Stay sharp, stay curious.